All the Juggalos in recovery.
All right,
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why are the meeting topics always so on point for me? Because usually something I would have lost my shit about just happened at work. So
Yeah.
I was out of character for my normal self because I've been pushing this dumb shit down. But I was like, you know what? I'm telling the boss lady because I'm tired of this dumb shit. And then the other person's taking jabs at me in the group chat. And I'm like, here's the other issue. Why is the group chat being used for stuff that's not important to the job or isn't being said directly? And then they turn around and apologize. And I was like, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, man.
But usually I would have lost my fucking shit ASAP. But I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to go through the proper channels, tell them what's bothering me, and get it addressed.
Yeah, I've been kind of all over the place today. Like, I don't know. I didn't sleep very well. It's like stressing about this, that, and the other.
I like the back portion of lights.
Yeah, I'm out on the porch at my girl's house. Like,
it's a weird Monday, man. Everything seems off today, so I feel you.
Yeah.
Too much going on. Everything seems off. I turned my ringer off the first half of the day because my phone was just nonstop with 100 things, and I'm like, I'm sweating my ass off toting bricks, and I ping, 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 and I'm like, I can't right now.
Right.
I gotta focus and get this job done.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, did you hear music when you came in?
No, I didn't hear music, and then I had a Zoom ID already saved on my Zoom, and I kept going in, and it says the host has a different meeting in progress. So I had to go to the Facebook post.
Yeah, I don't know.
Click that link because I guess it's not the same ID. And I did share the link in a whole bunch of groups, so we'll see who shows up.
Yeah, I had to change it because I don't know what happened. I couldn't sign in. Zoom has like a new like passcode like security thing. So
You have
like
to read a
when I went to
video
go
and
sign into the regular one, it like didn't give me. It sent like something to Frank's email. So I don't know. It was weird. So I had to like have him open the room, and he's busy doing stuff right now. So
yeah.
he opened the room and he sent me this link. So I just updated all the links on the pages. So at least that I saw. I did see that you posted some other links, but you probably posted other.
Yeah, probably. So yeah. I just share it to every Juggalo group that will let me share it. So
Right. Okay.
Move.
I don't want to die and burn in hell. I want to live honorable and do nothing but hell. I don't want to stay on plan. Want to see something fucked up. I want to laugh. Why I am my deadbeat father who walked out on you kids like my father.
Ty, can you hear that?
I want to start a beat. This world and all the gods. How can I not it all be God? We got Allah, Jehovah, God did praise. However you was raised. I don't wonder who's right. I don't want to believe in stars. I don't want to make you
Stan? Eddie. I knew the house, I just couldn't remember the name.
I'm asking how can I do the chapter 12 advice. How do I stay faithful and quit the game when I tell my boss when the same fuck can I have the mansion sitting land. Is this a joke? How could anybody with nothing see the rich and not be salty? And what if some psychopath had my son? How could I not just grab my gun? How could I not have adrenaline buzz? Aim and blow a hole where his eyeball was. I saved my son, he's alive and well, but I killed a man. Am I going to hell?
That's it. Good morning. Thanks, man.
I don't wanna die and burn in hell. I wanna live honorable and do well, but how? How do I stay on path? Wanna see something fucked up? How do I honor my deadbeat father who walked out on 2 kids like my father and left my mother with poverty? Fuck my dad. I wanna slaughter thee, lead this world and all the gods. How can I not look at all the odds? He got Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, God, give praise. However you was raised. How do I not wonder who's right or wrong? How do I keep my believing strong? How do I make it to Shangri-La when the world's so fucked up? Damn, it's hard. It's I'm asking how can I ignore the hotties? How do I not check their slamming bodies? How do I stay faithful and quit the game when I doubt my wife is doing the same? How in the fuck can I not have envy? Drive a bucket, not want a Bentley, live in a trailer, not envy a man who's got a mansion, sitting on land. Is this a joke? How can anybody with nothing see the rich and not be salty? And what if some psychopath had my son? How can I not just grab my gun? How can I not have adrenaline buzz? Aim and blow a hole where his eyeball was. I saved my son, he's alive and well, but I killed the man. Am I going to hell? How can I actually be a saint? How can I live and be something I ain't? How do I not steal when I'm dying of hunger and I end up under? How do I just turn the other cheek when I'm disrespected? Slap the beat, what's wrong with fighting back and winning? How come if I'm not a punk, I'm sinning? How can I praise true and true when most of what I pray for don't come through? And what about science and all the facts? How do I keep my faith intact? How do I not lie when the truth is painful, embarrassing, harmful, and shameful? How do I not live afraid of hell and be happily content? My soul is well. A beautiful life with all its darkness has covered my life. How could this be? You said I was alive. How would I know it wasn't good enough? If I don't get enough, if I don't get enough.
Start selling online with Shopify, the e-commerce platform that's trusted.
Does this excite you? Think about it. Does it not stagger the imagination? No builder on earth can conceive any structure to compare to the mansions above. Won't that be something when you go to live in your own mansion? There be no concern about paying for it. It's already taken care of. There be no worry of being moved out of it. It will be yours forever.
I got shot. Murder was heinous. The bullet went in my eyeball and out my anus. And I was hit, that was it. On the spot, flash. I woke up in a parking lot. And I'm sitting in a 64 my keys. With shaggy dope written on the car keys. I looked around, I can't believe that it's possible. I'm dead and I made it to the carnival. I walked in, it's everything I dreamed of. Everybody in their mama got clowned up. Japanese, Lebanese, and Chinese, Portuguese, and Southwest cattle cheese. Hanging out with redneck truck drivers. Instead of always killing each other, pile drivers. I see my old homie, he died in the drag. Chilling with two bitches. What I said. And he passed me a blunt like a tree trunk. I tried to hit it, but couldn't even fuck with it. In a dick, I always been afraid to die, but I ain't never going back to wonder why. We all gonna die, but I'm not gonna cry. Even though most never try, I'm not gonna let these passerbys know. We all gonna die, but I'm not gonna cry. Even though most never try, I'm not gonna let these passerbys know. First, they threw me in a shit pile. I dealt with it and lived there for a while. I got pissed on, and beat down, mutilated, and tossed out a dead clown. Next thing you know, I'm chilling at the big top. Free money and mad bitches non-stop. No water, it's Fago on tap. I wash my hair and my face and my butt crack bitty. Cause I can, cause I'm fat paid. I got a 5-story fun house with a maid. And she walks around with her titties hanging out. And when I cough, she kinda does my balls off. I'm heading up to the show. I'm gonna see Jimi Hendrix, Selena, and Eazy-E. Elvis tried to open up and got pissed off. We got pissed off because he sounded like mud. There's no fights. It's a perfect match. Hillbillies in the crowd trying to cabbage patch. And it's like, I've always been afraid to die, but I ain't never going back to wonder why. We all gonna die, but I'm not gonna cry. Even though most never try, I'm not gonna let these passerbys know. We all gonna die, but I'm not gonna cry. Even though most never try, I'm not gonna let these passerbys know.
Does this excite you? Think about it. Does it not stagger the imagination? No builder on earth can conceive any structure to compare to the mansion above.
If you ever bring your finger around something, mate, well, picture this, you're not spreading that way. And a Roman candlestick is your butthole. That's where the grease snake motherfuckers go. This is our hell now, we living in it. With this bullshit, I'll be over in a minute. Then it's off to the bagels and head holes. New clothes and patent leather for your toes. While you sitting around crying for your dead friend, you're chilling. Probably there trying to make bad. It's a way down for the next man. Around from the pool, snatch all you can. You talk shit, let me tell you something. Hold it right to your balls and you see what's coming. I'm not gonna let these bastards. I'm not gonna let these bastards know.
There be no concern about paying. It's already taken care of. There be no worry of being moved out of it. It will be yours.
But I'm not gonna cry, even though most never try. But I'm not gonna never try. I'm not gonna let these passersby know.
Start selling online with Shopify, the e-commerce platform that's
which is why I was tickled to learn that Greek.
Are you scared of ghosts? I'm not scared of ghosts. Matter of fact, I'll summon a ghost with this Ouija board. And as soon as it shows up, I'll slap it.
I'll go to Alaska. Bitch, slap a polar bear and take its food. I'll mow the fucking lawn of a landmine field like what? Boom. I'll roll in an 80 up in some papers. You smoke that shit up. I'll share a dirty heroin deal with that dirty bitch, Courtney Love. I'll run around the White House lawn, naked and screaming and busting shots at it. I'll scratch my back with a chainsaw. Oh, got it. I'll walk through Compton alone and sport Wranglers and a cowboy hat. I'll head for the fucking unicorn. Come here, bitch. Oh, yeah. I'll stand on a stone and let you trim my toenails with an axe. I'll sucker punch a gorilla and then try to run with a banana hanging out my ass. I'll fucking become pen pals with the Unabomber. Let him send me packages. I'll drive an ice cream truck to Ethiopia talking about 3 ice cream sandwiches.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
What's up?
Everybody can hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure a little bit different stuff going on this week with me because I'm not at my usual location and I just don't have my equipment with me. But we're still gonna run with this. So thank you, D, for providing the music beforehand. And welcome everybody to Juggalos in Recovery. Let me find my format that I just had. There we go. Welcome everyone to the meeting of Juggalos in Recovery. We're glad you're all here, especially the newcomers. The first rule of Juggalos in Recovery is we tell everybody about Juggalos in Recovery. The second rule is the want to kick your addiction in the balls. The third rule is call your mom. On a serious note though, my name is Ty Boogie and I will be hosting tonight's meeting. We are recording for some of those who might be new. If you don't want, your face or your name or whatnot, just email us and we'll get back to you and figure that whole thing out. We are here to fight back against our addictions and enjoy our lives. If you're fighting an addiction, then I'm glad you are here. And if you want to just support us or someone you know, then thank you, homie, and much respect. This meeting is held, I think we're doing it every Monday now at 8:30. We're going to try to play around with some time so be up to date with that. And we try to open up about 30 minutes beforehand just to kind of let anything out before the meeting if possible. And now I'll read the steps. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that we couldn't handle life anymore. Step 2, we came to believe the carnival could help us screw our heads on straight. Step 3, we made a decision to not only serve ourselves, but also our community. Step 4, we looked at ourselves deeply without fear to recognize the good and bad in all of us. Step 5, we opened up to the carnival, ourselves, and other juggalos about the shitty and not so shitty things we did during our lives. Step 6, we were entirely ready to have our community take our flaws and show us how to make them our strengths. Step 7, we ask humbly that the carnival take our flaws and guide us to the path of Shangri-La. Step 8, we made a list of all the persons we hurt during our lives and became willing to admit our fuck ups and change our ways. Step 9, we forgive ourselves as long as we try to fix our mistakes without causing any more drama. Step 10, we continue to fix ourselves daily as soon as we realize that we fucked up. Step 11, the truth of the matter is we can always lean on our Juggalo family so we can find happiness. And step 12, having your eyes open to this new way of life, we now carry this message to other addicts who are still suffering, whether Juggalo or not, because every human matters. And again, my name is Ty Boogie, and I'm your host tonight. And tonight I wanted to talk about how we handle situations that used to baffle us, that used to like lead us astray, usually to the drink or the drug of our choice. And I found a little bit of a reading that I wanted to read real fast. If I can just find it. I guess I can't find what I just did. Oh well, I'll figure it out. I'll run with it. You guys know I'm good on under pressure. Um, but yeah, recovery, builds many positive qualities that we need in order to stay sober. It builds virtue and moral character. Not to mention, it also ignites a spark of spiritual growth. Not necessarily saying God, but just some type of spirituality, something of an understanding of something that's greater than us, whether it be the community, meetings, or a higher power. There we all have some type of understanding that there is something bigger than us, that what we have done hasn't always necessarily worked. You know, in early days, we probably, find that like our situations after like the results are new, and there's new fears, and like, with those new results, and we don't know how to tell people about our recovery and like, and like, you start to get more comfortable being in certain situations, and then things happen that you don't think about, like what you should do if somebody offers you a drink or drug, or what it's like to go to a high school reunion of some sort, or maybe a group gathering after work or something, like how do you do that, me personally, that's kind of chosen my path of where I want to do as a career. Is not necessarily, I've been a bartender my whole life, and yeah, I may be a good bartender, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that triggers my addiction. Where many of us begin, we don't even know our triggers. Um, so the big thing is making sure that like we make these changes to our approach in the manner of which we handle these difficult situations. Um, and as we try different things, we start to realize that some of those issues start to subside. So it's important to know that what works today may not be what worked tomorrow. What worked yesterday may not work today. So to keep yourself open to the idea that like things are ever changing, especially in our recovery. We grow as different people. We want a lot of the same things, but we realize that going about them, you got to do it differently. I myself am a musician, and work on music. I'm a songwriter, and I used to do a lot of plotting and scheming about how I was going to make the next big buck, and like whether it was hustling or something, pulling some type of scheme or whatever it was to try to get money quick so I can just provide for my career. That becomes you know, my goals are still the same, but what that lifestyle becomes like, you know, just as addictive and just as difficult to get away from than, you know, the actual addiction itself. So it's important to like find new ways to approach these goals. You know, now I've been known to work 3 jobs at a time, you know, and work 7 days a week, you know, and that's the ism that I still have. That is still my disease, you know, that is still me trading one thing for another. But you know, I I still find solitude, find peace and solace in like the fact that like I'm not hustling on the streets. I'm not trying to make a quick buck. I'm not stealing things from a store and digging through, you know, garbage cans for receipts so I can return items that I've stolen and, you know, and what have you, which is just exhausting, just like thinking about doing that lifestyle, you know. And, you know, now that I have can work multiple jobs, you know, and do different things, and, you know, whatever I want, you know, I can help my friend, you know, mow some lawns. I can help him, you know, do some type of landscaping. I can, you know, right now I'm helping my sister-in-law throw axes, you know, and I'm literally throwing axes. I'm teaching other people how to throw axes. I'm a juggalo and my job is to throw axes. That's unbelievable. I don't know who writes the rules on this stuff, but, you know, I'm loving it, you know, and that's because I found different ways to approach certain situations. Like, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for money? You know, and keeping that open-mindedness and, you know, so yeah, I hope somebody got something from that. I don't want to babble too much. I don't know if anybody else has got something to say, something they want to get off their chest, but I'd love to hear from some of you guys. I think I have it set that you can unmute yourselves. Yeah, I think so. So a little bit different style tonight. So thank you guys for bearing with me. You know, and yeah, how do you handle situations that used to baffle you? Either, you know, with yourself or with other ones, you know, like, you know, or with other people, I should say, you know, like, you know, maybe you have somebody, you know, that, you know, suffers from this disease, and, you know, there's new situations that that, or there's same old situations that you now deal with that you now have new coping mechanisms for. Maybe that's a thing. So I'd love to hear from you guys, and open it up. If not, I can always sit here and talk. I know D's got stuff going on, so you gave me the 1 minute thing. You know, one example of how I used to deal things, you know, and not how I now deal with things, um, is greatly. I touched on this a little bit in my while I was speaking, about um, just doing things that I never thought I would do before. You know, my spirituality has become a big part of my recovery these days. Every single morning, I have a certain process that I go through, and and some of the steps that I take in during that process are things that I never thought I would ever find myself doing, you know, and going out of my way, and they truly help me these days. So, you know, never think that something doesn't work for you, especially if you've never tried it. You know, this recovery thing is no joke, you know. So it takes anything we can, whatever it takes. If you see my background, I'll show it real quick. Whatever it takes, you know. That's hopefully, you know, that means a lot. If you know me, whatever it takes, wit. That's a big thing in my life, and, you know, like whatever it takes to stay sober, and that's what I realized. You know, so, you know, don't ever like hold yourself back, you know, and don't ever say that there's not anything that won't work for you, because you'd be surprised what does work for you, or what works for the next man. You know what I mean? Just maybe something that worked for you may not work for somebody else, or maybe something that didn't work for you might work for somebody else because you've seen it work for somebody else. You know, you never know. You know, our job here is to help the next man, you know. It's to help the next juggalo, you know, or human being in any sense. You know, I help everybody, and I know there's other people who sit here, they help others too, you know. So D, it looks like you got away for a minute. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I was finishing cleaning the office and my coworker called in, so I missed the last like minute and a half because she apologized to me because I challenged her via the proper chain of command, like we were talking before the meeting. As you know, I work in a recovery setting, and I was talking before the meeting. I'm like, how do the meeting topics always on point? Because my whole day has been handling situations differently than I normally would. Usually I'll just explode or I'll get upset. I'll walk off, whatever the case may be. It started earlier today with my phone going off nonstop and my coworker throwing a temper tantrum while I'm in the middle of cleaning stuff up at my day job, and he starts throwing shit everywhere. And I'm like, I just cleaned all this in my head. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. He's doing what he's doing. I'm just gonna pick it back up and let it be. And then he's seen I was like annoyed but not saying nothing. He came up and apologized later. I'm like, no worries, bro. I get it. You're frustrated, but all you have to do is say something and I will help you. He's like, okay, I appreciate that. You're pretty cool. I'm glad you understand. I'm like, yeah, no worries, dude. Shit happens. And then tonight they tried to shove a last minute intake at work, and the guy had done relapsed a couple times, got kicked out of one of the halfway houses that are the hardest places to get kicked out of because the guy gives a million chances. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Like it doesn't sit right. And then my friends know this guy and they tell me what's going on. And then she calls the halfway and finds out what's going on. And she was just calling to apologize and thank me for challenging her on her job. Cause I'm like, that's not our policy and procedure for bringing people in. Like, I love helping people, but if it's going to endanger the community where everybody else is sober, probably not a good idea, you know? And the old me would have just like probably said something to hurt somebody because I would have took it personal because it's people I look up to and I work with, and it's hard to not take certain things on a personal level when you have that attachment, right? So instead of dealing with it unhealthy, I dealt with it right way. I vented to my boss. I, you know, internally processed it and thought about it before acting on anything, which is a good feeling. And I can say the longer I stay sober, as long as I maintain my spirituality, I can pretty much handle every situation I never thought I would handle. Fuck, going to the gathering and staying sober during that insanity, if I can do that, I can go anywhere in the world and stay sober, okay? Like I already every like month or so I go to the cigar bar where they have a live DJ on Friday nights and people are drinking and the bathroom smells like crack and cocaine. And I'm just sitting there smoking my cigar, drinking a bottle of water, and people are like trying to pull me up to dance. And I'm like, yeah, I don't dance. And they're like, who's this guy who's just drinking a bottle of water, smoking a cigar, watching the TV? Yeah, that's me. That's what I do. I watch you have fun while I'm having my fun watching you. So if I can go in these like, concerts and festivals and all this and not worry about a drink or a drug and proudly say that I'm in recovery and you don't want me to do that. And then on personal levels, be able to handle things without exploding because, fear and anger are like primary emotions, and that's what I'm used to. If I'm afraid, I blow up. If I'm angry, I blow up, and that's stuff I don't have to do these days, and that's all from, you know, being able to learn to cope and deal with stuff a different way and face my fears and learn how to handle situations where before it was numbing it with a drink or a drug or with a person or with whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Anything that made me feel better, right? Now I don't look for the thing that's going to instantly make me feel better because usually that's not good for me. Because, like you said, anything, it could be anything. I trade one thing for another. So I try not to seek the instant gratification route anymore. Feels hella good talking shit behind your back, but then when shit comes back to me, it doesn't feel too good. So I probably shouldn't talk shit behind people's back. That kind of thing. Like I could be upset and run my mouth about a whole bunch of shit in my personal life about somebody else or somebody else, but I don't do that kind of stuff anymore in days. If I have a problem with somebody, I process it and I talk to them, right? Because the only way have healthy relationships and doing the healing and the growth and not it affect my sobriety or my mental state is to approach things with communication and understanding of a situation, which is something I would never do because humans baffle me. They still do. A lot of them do. besides the select few in my circles. So with that, I feel like I'm rambling. I'll shut up, let somebody else talk.
Thanks, D. Frank, you should be able to unmute yourself, brother.
Yeah, I did. All right. So I know I'm supposed to be on the other Juggalos recovery thing, but I didn't want to go to my office. So dealing with situations that used to baffle us. A lot of my life. Henry, turn that down, please.
Hey, can you just turn the sound bar off?
A lot of my current life, if I was still drinking and in that mindset, I would not be able to handle. Minus running businesses and networking and all that stuff, just being in a relationship and understanding the changes I have to go through to be in a healthy relationship. It's very powerful, very challenging. But once you accept the change and you learn to go with the flow, which I never did, I was able to find a serenity that I had never even known existed before. And then very recently, there was a situation that arose where D was kind of part of it. He was the one who tried to knock shit down a little bit and de-escalate. But there's a person.
I think you handled it good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because during part of that, I thought I was going insane. Like, the dude got inside my head. And like, my wife read all the messages and everything, and that situation was hard for me to handle mentally and emotionally because I look up to this person because of certain things that have happened. I had an emotional attachment to this person. And after that situation happened, that person cut himself off from me completely. And it's kind of messed up in my opinion to act that way, but then I took a step back and I realized some people are sicker than others, meaning that some people have other issues going on that, I mean, the way he handled that, I would have handled it back in my day. And the messed up part of this is the fact that I was able to recognize it quickly. So I mean, it was good to have backup and people telling me that I wasn't going insane and that I was handling it in a decent fashion. But that situation before, I would have been just as bad, if not worse, than that person. And that person, it would have just been a blowout. I would have ruined everything that group was working on. Or I just would have been like him and just exiled myself. And for me, that's really, really hard for me to believe that I used to be that way now, because I'm not that way anymore. Don't get me wrong, I have my days. You can ask this one over here. I have my days. And grunting and groaning in the background is probably not the best thing.
Well, the honey's hard to squeeze.
But the fact that a program like this, or the program I got sober in originally, AA, I was able to learn tools and learn tools and use them so I can live the most peaceful, happiest life I can. Now, that situation I talked about was extremely stressful for me because of the drama that was involved. But I knew it wasn't going to last forever. I knew it wasn't going to have a huge impact on my life, because the way I see it, and I learned this in the rooms, some people come in for seasons, others come in for, everyone has their own season. Whether it's it's all their specific time frame that they're going to be a part of your life. And it's all these tools that I've learned. It's helped me be peaceful and have a serenity that like I said before, like I didn't realize that it existed. And I know this lady over here would not be with me right now if I did not make all that work happen on myself. But I think that's all I got to say.
He handled that situation, Bryant, that you know of, better than he did when him and I had to deal with his learning curves of crap during COVID. So the Frank you got is one that I am extremely proud of. The Frank you talked to is one that I'm extremely proud of, because I was in Amarillo in the hospital with Henry. And so he already had stress at home. And the fact that he handled that situation the way he did, it baffled me. I was very happy though.
Yeah, he was telling me what was going on with the kiddo. I messaged in the chat, hope the kid's okay. But no, I mean, like, what do you expect? Addicts and alcoholics and people that deal with mental and emotional stuff, right? Fight or flight, common human instinct, and then even more extreme because of our imbalances and dysfunctions, right? So yeah, old me, I would have been the same way, like fight or flight, and I'm the same one. Fight or flight. I'll cut you off completely, or I'm going to fight you face to face, or I'm going to go drink and drug over you because that's my excuse at the time.
Yeah.
And unhealthy ways of dealing with personal relationships, just like I was saying, the things that I just went through today and had to deal with them differently.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing that I'm learning very slowly, is the fact that before I was so quick just to, nope, I'm done with you. No contact, no nothing. You're out of my life. I forget you. And then I'm in a situation, in a relationship where I can't do that anymore. I have to be around people that I don't really care for, or I have different views on than other people I'm around. So I have to be respectful and keep them at a safe distance so I don't get hurt, but also so I don't hurt the people that I'm there for. And mostly this one. Weirdly, I don't like a lot of her friends.
No, that's pretty normal.
But that's another thing. Like back in the day, I would have just cut you off and be like, nope, I have nothing. I've tried to get her to do that. She won't. But that's who she is. She deals with life differently than I do, and I have to, one, accept that, and two, learn how to deal with that in a healthy manner for me. And that's been a challenge, but I feel like I'm doing better at it. Okay, I'm done talking for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, there's still things that I still struggle with, that I like ask myself, like, why am I still struggling with this? I've still, no matter how long I've been sober, I still have trouble sleeping, and, it's just like that automatic, thought process that I have, I just start to get caught up in myself and my emotions and stuff when I'm like laying there and I can't sleep, so that when I wake up in the morning and then I'm arguing with, the person next to me, and and it's just like, where does that get us when we both start off in a bad mood, and realizing that, like, I have to learn how to handle myself, how to filter these like things in different ways, in different forms, you know what I mean, and not even emotionally go about them the same way. I have to kind of change the way that I feel about these things so I can behave differently towards the people that I care about. Because I don't want them to think that I'm a jerk, so, I have to be conscious of that fact, of the idea that, like, the slightest, glitch in my tone of voice might affect how somebody might perceive what I'm actually telling them. You know what I mean? And things like that. So, you know, it's a learning process. And I think that's the hardest thing that I ever understood before I got sober, was that I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to be in some way or another pushing that rock up that hill. Maybe that hill is just a slight incline and you don't even notice that it's even a hill, you know? And the rock doesn't even feel like it's really that difficult to push, you know what I mean? But you know, you're starting on that incline, and that incline is progressively going to get more, you know? So it's important to understand that and learn to accept that, you know, that there's going to be different ways to go about certain things, and choices that you make are going to have different consequences. Just because you make the same choice in a similar situation doesn't mean the outcome is going to be the same, you know? So it took a lot for me to realize. I'm still realizing that. I'm still learning that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was just having trouble sleeping last night. I'm exhausted today. I've got so much going on with like trying to get my license back, trying to start classes, trying to find another job, like get back into full-time work, because it's about to be, you know, cold. It's about to be it's about to be fall and cold. It's in New England, you know, so it's coming. So, you know, it's time to get back to work. You start to get back. You know, I had my fun for the summer. I made it to the gathering. I saw my friends. I saw my family, you know, like, and now it's time to get back to the grind. And, you know, but it's important to make sure that I still have this program, this network um, of homies you know, and people that are by my side who are still fighting this fight with me. Who are teaching me, you know, I even talking to you, listening to you guys speak today, you know, I learned how I can handle things differently just listening to you guys speak tonight, you know. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys.
All right, I'm gonna triple dip because I forgot about the other thing when I was rambling that Frank said, and that's something I've been applying since my early recovery. And once I started losing people that I had grown attached to, is it's not an ICP song, but I play this song every time shit's going on and I'm just debating some stuff. Illmind hops in the last minute of the track. He has like this distorted voice outro, and it talks about we should always constantly evaluate our friendships, who's speaking into your lives, who's dragging you down. You know, not every place that God has put you is supposed to be permanent, right? Seasons change, times change. The job that you're comfortable at might not be the job the rest of your life. The friends that were there at that time are not supposed to be there forever. Everything is ever changing, and you know, they're there to teach you like basically a lesson or a blessing. They're about to show you something nobody's ever else shown you about yourself, or make you feel a certain way, or they're going to teach you a lesson about yourself to make you a better you. So always see who's pushing you to be the best you and pushing you forward. Basically, I don't know the words verbatim, but that last minute of that song gives me goosebumps literally every time I listen to it, and some shit's going on in my life. I'm sitting here thinking like, what should I do? What's the next move? Or this loss kind of hurts. This change kind of sucks. Just to keep it in my head, like whatever, going with the flow, whatever God's meant to have it be, that's what it's gonna be, you know? So when Frank said that fucking outro to that Hobson song popped right in my head.
I love that song. Hobson has so many powerful, powerful songs. It's awesome. One of the things, there's a lot of situations in my life. I'm pretty sure I've already said this today, but there's been a lot of situations just recently that I would have dealt with a lot differently when I was inactive or even in early sobriety. One of those things, one of the kind of hard things I'm dealing with at this moment is I'm building a shadow box for a buddy of mine who got murdered by his wife, allegedly contracted or got with someone and had him killed, had him shot. And this guy was the reason why I moved to Illinois, and that's where I got sober at. And building this box is very difficult for me emotionally to do, because after someone passes away, like for me, I start realizing just how much I didn't know about them, or I don't remember about them, and then how much I miss them, and how much I wish I could pick up the phone and call them or whatever. Like it was, he saw me when I first started drinking, and he saw me after I got sober. Like he was with me through everything. And it's very difficult for me to process this, because it's something, when I was drinking, I would just go out and get drunk about it. And fuck it, like why not? I don't want to remember it, so drink it away. And I drink till I blacked out that night. But I can't do that anymore, and I won't do that anymore, because my life now is way more important than that drink, way more important than that next high. Like it's not worth, for me, it's not worth going out there and doing anything. But it's hard, it still puts me in a weird state of mind, having to think about this and process this, and it's a lot to deal with. It just is. And but I'm dealing with it in a healthy manner now, instead of in a toxic, I'm gonna hurt everyone in my pathway. Now I'm putting my emotions into a basically an art project where I can make my feelings known without having to say them. And for me, that works sometimes. Like building this piece means a lot to me, and it's allowing me to show how much I respected that man and how much I loved him and I cared about him. And I know no matter how it comes out, he would appreciate it, because he never put me down for anything. He would call me out on stupid shit, but he would never put me down for anything I put my heart and soul into. And those are the type of people we as humans need around, as the type of people who are able to call you out on stuff, but don't put you down for things that mean a lot to you, no matter what weird shit you're into. But yeah, that's what I got. Cat, your turn. Talk.
Run that shit, Cat.
Hold on a minute. Sorry.
All right, Cat, it's your turn. Talk about some stuff.
Sorry, I had to mute myself and everything like that because kids keep running in and out. It's hard to get a piece of quiet in this house. My name is Kat. I could relate to what you were saying about, having a death in the family, whether it's a friend or, family. Because I use drugs to numb myself. Because how would I say it? Instead of dealing with the pain, dealing with it, and coming to terms with it, I numb myself. I numb myself with drugs so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to feel it. Just numb. But during my recovery, my dad passed away. And then a couple years, literally, I think it was like a month before the 2 year that my dad's been gone, my best friend was killed in a car accident. So I had not gotten over, and I haven't not dealt with my dad's death. And now on top of this one, I have to deal with, my best friend. And I use drugs to numb myself, to numb the pain, and everything like that. But now I'm having to deal.
Cat, I think. Yeah. You.
I have not grieved for them to I guess people grieve in different ways, but I'm having to learn how to grieve and process everything without the use of drugs. And so I'm doing good. I mean, I'm going on 7 years clean and sober, and I'm very, I'm happy and I'm proud of myself to, refrain from using during a difficult time. But it's hard. Let's see, how can I say this? I do have a hard time dealing with things and coming to terms with things without the use of drugs. And I'm still not quite. I just don't know how to deal with. I don't know how to deal with it. That's all. Thank you. Sorry.
You're okay, babe.
Thank you, Kat.
It's hard. It's hard to talk about it because I try not to talk about it, and because if I talk about it and think about it, then I get hurt and I get upset, and so it's really difficult for me to talk about it. But yeah, like dealing with death without the use of substance, whether it be alcohol or drugs, it's hard because you're having to deal with all that feelings. And, when you're so used to using and drinking to numb the pain, it's just, it's hard to deal with it. Like you don't know what to do or how to handle the situation. So I'm slowly getting there. Like I'm working on it, grieving and stuff like that. I'm slowly coming to terms with it, but it's a struggle, but I'm getting there.
One day at a time.
One
Yeah,
day at a
one
time,
day at a
exactly.
One day at a time.
Exactly what I'm doing.
You got anything else to say, Frank?
Yeah, I was gonna say, anybody else got anything to say? D, you got your hand up. I don't know if
Okay.
that's from last time.
Okay. No, that was from last time, but I did want to say something, but I was talking to somebody, so I had the mic muted. So, Kat, have you ever tried? I know this worked with like my 4 stuff, and I like to do it. Have you ever tried to like write a letter and then sit somewhere out in a beautiful scene and set it on fire?
I have not.
That's like some Wiccan stuff. They like to
Yeah,
write
my
what
best
they
friend
wish for
would
and set
love.
it on fire.
Yeah, my best friend Megan she's a Wiccan, like she's pagan. So that'd be something, I could do for her. But my dad I'm currently living with my brother, and my dad is buried literally right next to the house.
Hey.
We have land right down. What?
Babe.
What?
So Megan, you could do the fire thing, but your dad was an outdoorsy person. Write a letter and just bury it next to him.
We literally, I'm thinking about doing that. We literally have a beer. His last beer that he had in the refrigerator the day before he died, it was his last one.
Yeah.
And we have it in his jacuzzi, his little boat, and it's in the refrigerator. Every time we go down to see dad or something like that, we'll take that beer and we'll set it on his tombstone down there, and we'll just sit there and talk to him and just talk and reminisce and stuff like that. But I've actually thought, I had friends who wrote letters and tied them to balloons and release them.
Don't do
as
that.
a way to float. I'm not going to do that.
do
I
that.
haven't done it.
Don't do that. That's so bad for the environment and bad for the animals and the ocean. Don't do that.
So
I haven't done it.
so one thing I had to do is my mom died before I got sober, and I had a lot to deal with when it came to my mother. So one thing I did, and I learned this from one of the TV preachers or something on YouTube or something like that. I put a picture of her in an empty chair in front of me and just talked to her. Said everything I needed to say. And once I was done and I released all of my emotions, I felt a lot better. So there's a lot of different ways that you can handle that.
A lot. That's why I brought up the letter and the fire thing, because like also like Buddhism, if you went to like write the letter out during like meditation, they got like air, water, fire cleansing. That's the way to cleanse those emotions and not hold on to it.
Yeah, it's like I had the last time I've been down to my dad was the day of was a few days after the funeral, and ever since then I haven't been down. It hurts. It hurts to go down there because I guess part of me is not ready to believe that he's gone and everything. So it's a work in progress. I'm trying to get myself up to where I can go down there and just sit with him. And you know, I was actually thinking about writing a letter and either burying it right next to him or something.
What I did is I wrote a letter to someone and I took their favorite drink, like, and it was fucking nasty ass cherry Pepsi, buried it, poured the Pepsi on top of it.
Yeah.
Not telling you to do that with his beer, but like find something with like his soda that or whatever that he liked other than beer and do that. And then you can literally just sit there, but sit right there and write it. Because you will have a shit ton more emotions come out, and that will give you the avenue to be able to work through the grief.
Yeah.
I still have not done that for my aunt, and I need to. And she died in 16.
Good stuff, guys. Oh, sorry. I didn't even realize that my camera wasn't on. I don't even know what happened.
I just want to thank everybody for joining. Love seeing y'all's faces. Can't wait to start doing this every week and have more meetings. Much needed
Yeah.
in
I'm
my life.
definitely gonna continue doing this on Mondays.
And thanks for bringing some joy and happiness back in my life. This is the shit I look forward to. So, new experiences, new friends, good talks.
Google has has our meeting schedule to fill out.
I know, I saw.
All right. So whenever we get chances, once I get overseas, I'll figure out what time I can handle one.
That's why I wanted to talk to you after the meeting.
All right, cool. But I'm good with the meeting if everyone else is done.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. I gotta get inside. It's about to start raining here in Connecticut, so.
Kat, feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk. I know you talk to Stacy all the time.
All right, I will.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ty, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I got the Juggalo Prayer loaded up. Here we go. Take it out. Thank you all for being here. It's good to see you all and hear you all speak. Definitely got something from it. So thank you for keeping me sober again. Love y'all. I believe that no matter how long the road, if we walk together, we will get there, even though we face some of the darkest evil ever seen. We will face it as an army and stand fearless in its path. Nothing will stop us with the help of our higher power. We will overcome the persecution and tribulations that life may cast from time to time. For I believe in myself, then shall be it so. To the ones that are still suffering and the ones who have fallen and are no longer with us, we carry your memory along the journey, sharing the stories of your life and celebrating your spirit. You may be gone, but are not forgotten. The sun descends and the night becomes. We arise and take to the path. Today is the first day of eternity. Be blessed, family. Whoop, whoop.